As our regular viewers are aware, we were silent for most of the last F1 season, causing some of you to reach out and ask after us. We are grateful for your concern, and, in response, we would like to explain that we went silent because we could no longer stomach what was going on last season, on top of what had happened in the season before. We hold the view that the new 2022 rules were put in specifically to disadvantage Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes-Benz, and to benefit Max Verstappen and Red Bull. F1 had designed 2022 to grant victory to Max and Red Bull, and the opportunity to effect the robbery in 2021 was by chance. Early on into the 2022 season, it had become clear to us, given the corrupt rulings in favor of Max Verstappen, that F1 was bent on giving the 2022 title to Max, in some Machiavellian attempt to validate the 2021 robbery. The integrity of the sport was violated, as the team denied Checo the opportunity to compete for the title. The other drivers had to compete against the pampered one, for whom all rules and regulations were waived. The teams had to compete under a cost cap rule that Red Bull openly violated because they knew they would get away with it. Amongst other factors, the other teams also naively expected that Red Bull would pay a price for that infringement that would be strong enough to redress the unfair advantage that they had gained, but alas, that was not the case. This Max at all costs design goes against the integrity of a sport that was founded on the essence of the competition between teammates in the same car and between teams with different engines and chassis, to create the ultimate contest based on the union of man and machine. In our opinion, Ferrari and Mattia Binotto paid the price for not vigorously challenging what had happened to Hamilton in Abu Dhabi in 2021, in ignorance of Pastor Nimola's prophecy, and expecting that their turn would not come. Perhaps, if Ferrari and Binotto had forced the issue, then F1 would have been deterred from manipulating 2022 in favor of Verstappen. Perhaps, if Checo had driven his own race rather than driven to block Lewis, Max, and the team, would have not had the basis for imposing team orders against him in 2022. Perhaps Checo has now had the time to reflect on Pastor Nimola's prophecy as he ponders what happened in 2022, culminating in Max's refusal to obey team orders, when his tainted title was already secured, and Checo was fighting for second place. Perhaps, if Ted Kravitz had been more vociferous in denouncing the 2021 robbery, Red Bull and Max Verstappen would not have the gall to pretend that his comments were unfounded. And if Red Bull and Max think that they can gaslight the truth outside of the corrupt F1 inner circle, then they are sadly mistaken. Similarly, if Martin Gopher Bungle thinks that anyone is buying his fake support for Ted, he can think again, Gopher by name, Gopher by nature. For our part, we will continue to support Lewis, with our prayers and wishes from the sidelines, and, should he have a competitive car, we will reluctantly return to watch him again. We will also send our best wishes to the likes of Charles Leclerc and George Russell, who we believe are much better drivers and competitors than Verstappen.
Today, in his pursuit of victory, George Russell, to the checkered flag, wins the Sao Paulo Sprint.
That's how we roll, baby. That's how we roll. Very nicely done.
Came out of the pits, had to wait a lap, but now can Leclerc with DRS get back at Verstappen? We're heading towards turn 4. This has been a bit of a problem for these two in the past. No problem this time.
We turned our attention from F1 to Donald Trump because we apply our principles equally across the board. F1 contrived to deny Sir Lewis an 8th title on much the same principles as those who are contriving to pronounce Donald Trump guilty of raping E Jean Carroll. Whatever Trump may have done or not done, he deserves a fair trial and, not a frame-up for an offense he could not possibly have committed, as reported by E Jean Carroll, and, as we have argued. No matter how many titles Sir Lewis has won, he did not deserve to be robbed of his 8th and record-breaking title. If Attorney General Garland does not have the balls to charge and prosecute Trump for any of his myriad of alleged offenses, then the media cannot constitute themselves into a mob seeking to rob him of his right to a fair trial. Anybody with any sense of objectivity and equity must know he could not possibly have committed the crime as alleged. Bending and breaking the rules to rob Lewis is just as bad as bending and breaking the rules to rob Trump. The same media that attempted to gaslight the robbery in Abu Dhabi is the same media that is attempting to gaslight the fake rape in New York. Pastor Nimola's prophecy applies across the board to all and one. Thank you for your kind attention and please subscribe to be notified when we publish our next video.